Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Lil Will Learning Company. Now, today, we're going to be looking at a really good novel, which is The Giver by Lois Lowry. Now, if you've read The Giver, hopefully you also know it's a very emotional book. It's probably one of the first books that a lot of young students read, which deal with very heavy topics and with very heavy emotions. And yet it does so in a rather simple story with something that's rather familiar for most kids. And it's a wonderful book. There is some controversy about the ending of it, but I won't ruin it here. But the novel itself is very, very well written, and the heavy topics that it goes into are they're really good, especially if it's the first time a student ever deals with those topics. Now, this is the week of Christmas, and I want to give some backstory of the book, this and the context behind it before we go into a very specific portion of it. It's in chapter 16. So here's the backstory of The Giver, which is hopefully not ruining it for anyone who hasn't read it yet. But essentially, the story revolves around a place known as the community. And our main character is a young boy named Jonas who's about to turn 12. When all of the kids in the community turn 12, they are given their assignment in the community, which essentially is like a job. I guess you could possibly call it a career, but they're given their assignment. They don't choose it. They're basically given it. It's selected for them by the committee of elders. And they go through all this training and through school, and that kind of reveals what would be the best fit for them as far as an assignment. So they have this huge ceremony called the Ceremony of 12, and Jonas is actually selected for a completely different assignment than everyone else. He's selected as the receiver of memory. And essentially, what it is he meets with this older man who's one of the elders of the community, and this elderly man essentially is known as the receiver of memory, and he has all of the memories of the world, and he basically transmits them to Jonas so that he can experience what the world is, not just within the community, but also outside of the community as well. And in the community, you have what's called family units, which is basically assembled together by the committee of elders. So they choose a man and a woman to be espoused together, and then they are given two children, one son, one daughter, and that's a complete family unit. Now, as Jonas goes through the training of being the new receiver of memory, he gets these various memories of things he's never experienced within the community, because the community is a place where they've removed essentially pain. They've removed choice, like that's why they are given their assignments and that's why they're given their family units or assigned to a family unit. They've removed choice, but they've also removed pain. There is no pain in the community. And removing pain, removing discomfort, removing the chaos that is, choosing things for yourself, that's done away with. It makes things much more orderly and much simpler. But once Jonah starts to receive these memories, he gets memories of like snow and a sled, of warmth, of good things and bad things, such as, starvation and war, but also this memory, which is now the point I'm trying to get to in this video. As I said again, this is the week of Christmas, and in chapter 16, this is after he is given many memories. Some are terrible, such as war and suffering, and the giver is trying to give him some better memories to kind of cheer him up, essentially. So he starts to give Jonas this memory that starts off in this house. It's at night. It's snowing outside. And there's a tree inside the house, which for Jonas, he's like, it makes no sense at all. And this tree is decorated with lights and little ornaments on it. Now, for the reader, hopefully they're able to piece together that this is Christmas, but Jonas does not have the words for it. He doesn't understand what this is because it's something that has been done away with in the community. So he's like, I don't really get what's going on here. Also within the memory, there's these young kids, and there's parents there, but there's also these older elderly people there, and basically the giver has to essentially tell him like, "Oh, those are grandparents." He doesn't have the words for this at all. So what I wanna do right now is actually let's go ahead and read the excerpt here because I've described a little bit too much. So here, let me go ahead and just pull it up. Here it is. Jonas felt the joy of it as soon as the memory began. Sometimes it took a while for him to get his bearings, to find his place. But this time he fit right in and felt the happiness that pervaded the memory. He was in a room filled with people, and it was warm, with firelight glowing on a hearth. He could see through a window that outside it was night and snowing. There were colored lights, red and green and yellow, twinkling from a tree which was, oddly, inside the room. On a table, lighted candles stood in a polished green holder, or golden holder, and cast a soft flickering glow. He could smell things cooking, and he heard soft laughter. A golden-haired dog lay sleeping on the floor. On the floor there were packages wrapped in brightly colored paper and tied with gleaming ribbons. As Jonas watched, a small child began to pick up the packages and pass them around the room. To other children, to adults who were obviously parents, to an older, quiet couple, man and woman, who sat smiling together on a couch. While Jonas watched, the people began one by one to untie the ribbons on the packages, to unwrap the bright papers, open the boxes, and reveal toys and clothing and books. There were cries of delight. They hugged one another. The small child went and sat on the lap of the old woman, and she rocked him and rubbed her cheek against his. Jonas opened his eyes and lay contentedly on the bed, still luxuriating in the warm and comforting memory. It had all been there, all the things he had learned to treasure. "What did you perceive?" the giver asked. "Warmth," Jonas replied, "and happiness, and let me think, family. That it was a celebration of some sort, a holiday, and something else. I can't quite get the word for it. It will come to you." Who were the old people? Why were they there? It had puzzled Jonas seeing them in the room. The old of the community did not ever leave their special place, the house of the old, where they were so well cared for and respected. They were called grandparents. Grandparents? Grandparents. It meant parents of the parents long ago. "It seems to work pretty well that way, doesn't it? The way we do it in our community?" Jonas asked. "I just didn't realize that there was any other way until I received that memory." "It works," the giver agreed. Jonas hesitated. "I certainly liked the memory, though. I can see why it's your favorite. I couldn't quite get the word for the whole feeling of it, the feeling that was so strong in the room." "Love," the giver told him. Jonas repeated it. Love. It was a word and concept new to him. So that part of the book there, where there's many new things he's experiencing. Christmas, family. He later talks about like the dangers of having a fire right there in the house, and the tree in the house is kind of silly. But he experiences love for the first time, which is a word that's difficult to describe. Something that comes up earlier in the book is, well, the community, they don't see color. They literally are. It's like looking at a black and white and gray film from long ago. And eventually, through the memories, he starts to see color in his life. But how do you describe color to someone who's never seen it before? And also, likewise, how do you describe love to someone who's never experienced that before? The book deals with a lot of important themes, such as the importance of memories and the importance of sharing those memories, but also there's a cost to the way they live. They do live in a place where pain has been removed and the messiness of choice has been removed. When you have that much order and no pain at all, there has to be a cost to it. And the cost is also the lack of love. People, they might enjoy being around each other, but love is a very deep emotion. There's many ways to describe it. And so is that worth the cost? If you remove all pain, is it worth it also then to remove love? Because you can't have one without the other. When you remove one of them, you do remove the other. And it's another one of the themes, which is If you live in a place where everything's decided for you and it's removed that risk of life from you, yes, it's less messy, but you also remove freedom and freedom of choice. And is that worth the cost as well? So, like I said, some really heavy topics that come up actually for a novel that, maybe around like 12 to 13-year olds is usually a good time to read it, but really good here. But I want to share that one part here since it is the week of Christmas, and basically it's a good little Christmas memory that comes with it. So, with that being said, if you haven't read The Giver, I would highly recommend reading it. It's a phenomenal book. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. And everyone, Merry Christmas. Take care.